Welcome to another episode of Casual Cinephilia, where enthusiastic amateurs talk very passionately about movies. I'm Ian.
I'm Lorian, and today we are talking about Joker.
Joker. I'm just going to go into it with this is how DC movies need to go from this point forward. I'm not talking about the darkness level. I'm not talking about, the plot of this film, but I'm talking about the one shot.
Right.
DC has always done really good encapsulated stories.
Right.
Like the best they do, like the furthest they should go is to a sequel or two.
Well,
like with the Dark Knight trilogy. Like
that, and DC is atrociously bad at making comic book genre films.
Yeah.
This is not a comic book film.
No.
Neither was the Dark Knight trilogy. The two that they are best known for being good are not what they're trying to make their money with.
right.
The characters they have are good.
Mm-hmm.
They can be written into other genres quite successfully. They
Very
need to
successfully.
Just start doing that.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I've just been so disappointed recently with DC films because, I don't know, I feel like they've been trying to cash in on the Marvel cinematic universe.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
just trying to create that engrossing, like, ever-connected
Mm-hmm.
universe. But that's not how DC has been successful in the past.
No.
And I think they're getting that with, the Joker.
Yeah. I haven't seen a lot of their movies lately because they've all looked like crap.
I've seen most of them, and most of them are crap.
Yeah.
Like, the best they get is popcorn flick fun.
Yeah, I saw Wonder Woman. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't see basically anything else. I saw Suicide Squad. That was awful.
Oh, yeah.
That's getting a sequel. It has an Oscar.
You always bring that up.
It's the most offensive thing. I can never forget it.
I'm actually excited for the next Suicide Squad because it's James Gunn.
Oh.
And it's a reboot. It's
that's
not
fair.
a sequel to it. I have a feeling James Gunn will do a Suicide Squad the way a Suicide Squad should be.
Yeah.
With a large cast and a lot of them dying.
Great. Yeah, hence the name.
But if anyone can make it work, it's James Gunn. But let's get on to the Joker. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
The cinematography is gorgeous. The color palette is disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
The characters are grotesque. The acting is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I want to recommend people to watch it.
Right. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's fair.
I think I genuinely have a hot take.
Oh, good.
This movie's dangerous. I genuinely feel like this movie is dangerous to people who are genuinely suffering from a mental illness. Like, I don't want to jump onto the hate train for this film, but
I think that
it's scary how much it feels like they glorify it at points.
I think that, and I think this is what you're saying. It didn't feel to me like they were glorifying it because I work in mental health, and I was able to watch the movie and keep in my mind that this was a villain's origin story.
Right.
But I don't think most of the population is that minded.
Right.
So I do agree with you that, like, I was saying to my coworker, he was like, "Oh yeah, what's that rated? Could we take the guys?" And I was like, "Nope.
Even
This is a hard adults only movie. Yeah. Nobody who is still forming their views of the world should see this movie ever."
No, I totally. That's a very solid point, and honestly, I agree with you completely on that.
This isn't an R because of the violence or the swearing. This is an R because it could very effectively place ideas in people who haven't had the time to think of their own opinions yet.
Yeah. A running theme through it is kill the rich.
Right.
And
Which makes perfect sense for a Joker backstory.
Absolutely.
If you're able to keep in your mind that this is a villain's origin story.
And I think the reason that this film, I feel, is so dangerous to not unprotected, but... My friend Natalie just texted me, who had been talking to me about this movie. Uh-oh.
It says, "We saw it. Oof. It was so beautiful. I loved it. It was perfectly shot and so intentional and exactly opposite of what I want from my art these days." And I think that she just did our whole review for us.
Yep.
I think that's exactly what we've been trying to say.
That is perfect. That is perfect. Yeah, I mean, I think, like, what I was going to say is it's so dangerous because it is so beautifully filmed. Mm-hmm. It is so beautifully written.
It was.
The soundtrack.
It was so good.
Is perfect. I mean, it starts so meek and weak and frail. And as he's losing his ability to control his inner sociopathy, it starts to build in strength. And by the end, it's just... But it keeps that unnerving, gross feel.
Yeah.
But just grows in strength through the whole thing. And it's just like, oh, it's so beautiful. And destructive.
Yeah.
Like, to a, easily influenced mind. I'm just going to... People cheered.
Oh, they did?
People in my theater,
Ooh.
The scene where he stabs the guy with the... Oh, spoiler alert. We're going to spoil everything about this movie.
We always do.
You should know this by now. But, spoilers. So when he stabs the guy with the frickin' scissors and then bashes his brains out against the wall, and that interaction with Gary, people laughed.
Oh, no. See, my audience was stone cold silence the whole movie, which is what you want.
No, there was many
You
moments.
had the same audience that I had for John Wick 3. Because that's what I was worried about going into this. I was like, oh, this is going to be the worst audience. But they were just like stony-faced watching the movie, taking it in.
Which would have made me feel a lot less uncomfortable.
Now you understand why I felt like I wanted to leave the theater in John Wick, but shouldn't.
There were several
because I felt like I might be murdered on my way out.
I mean, luckily I saw this at 10:30 in the morning, so I got out at 1.
No, I just meant by the other audience members as I was walking out of the theater itself.
Yeah. Luckily, it was
You're leaving?
Me, though, so I felt better. God. But yeah, there were several moments where it was obviously a traumatic moment, and crazy shit just happened.
Sure.
And I'm all for levity in a film.
Right.
But these weren't levity moments.
Right.
There wasn't anything levity about some of these scenes.
No.
And people were laughing. And it was like,
oh,
that's what's
scary.
Scared me.
Yeah.
That's
See,
what scared me.
You literally had the same... You are saying exactly the same things I was saying about John Wick. There was a pair of guys sitting next to me when I sat down. After I sat down. They got there as the movie started. But animals. And they were talking, and the first little bit of the film, something would happen, and they would be making fun of the character, sort of the same way that the rest of the world in the movie was making fun of the character. But to their immense credit, as the film progressed, they realized what was happening and were like, and quieted down and just watched silently. So I had exactly the opposite audience that you did.
An audience that learned.
An audience that learned from the movie instead of learning from the movie. Yeah. I mean...
I have to give Joaquin Phoenix credit. He
did a really great job in this.
He did an amazing job.
Mm-hmm.
The whole laughter, inappropriate laughter syndrome, whatever that was,
right,
you could feel the anguish in it, and just him genuinely trying to not
Right.
laugh. Like, the first third of the movie, even first half, you genuinely sympathize with this character.
Right.
But
There has to be a flip.
well, the thing is, I think that's also what was so good about this movie, is there wasn't a flip.
Right. It was a very slow
The movie starts with him
seeping change.
Yeah, the movie starts with him ill.
Right.
It's not a good man gone rogue.
Right.
It's a mentally ill person being abused.
Right.
And I think that the last line before he shoots Robert De Niro's character, what was it? What do you
Murray.
get when you mix?
Yeah, what do you get when you mix a mentally ill man in a society that abandons him?
Yeah. And then just blasts him in
What
the
you
face.
fucking deserve.
Yeah.
That
and
was a brutal but really beautifully shot scene. It was awful to watch, but it was awful to watch because it was so effectively
that
done.
scene made me upset to my stomach.
Yes.
And there's moments in this movie where it's like, this is such a message that needs to be said, but also
But it's not gonna be
interpreted right.
Right.
It's gonna be interpreted horribly. It's gonna be,
I know.
this is
I
a
am
giant warning story, and everyone's going to take it as
right, as a look how cool the
a
Joker is
call to
story.
arms story. Yeah.
I've seen several, I haven't watched any of them, but every time a interview about this movie comes up, I'm like, God damn, you're a brave man doing that interview for this film. I just would not want to be Jimmy Fallon right now.
No.
I feel uncomfortable for those people who are hosting shows right now.
Yeah. Ugh. So gross.
It was a genuinely horrifying movie that fits perfectly into our Halloween theme.
Yeah,
it was not at all.
I was a little worried that
scary.
I was
it was
a little worried it wasn't going to match the
deeply
theme,
existentially horrifying. But
I got out of the theater, walked to my car, and I think I sat there for a good 10 minutes. Just trying to digest it.
It was one of those movies that makes silence loud after you see it. I saw an 11 p.m. showing Thursday night, which means I got out of the theater at 1 a.m. Luckily, my audience was very chill, so it wasn't a scary experience walking to my car at 1 in the morning alongside these people. But I get into my car, I have Harmontown on, which is a podcast that I obviously like it, but it's a lot of the times it's a man telling jokes he thinks are great and 4 people in the audience laughing. So that was already a bit of a strange background to have on. Plus, just, you know what I mean? The silence was so loud after seeing this. The sounds of the road were almost drowning out the podcast, even though it was perfectly loud. Mm-hmm. And then I get on the freeway and I'm passing the interchange between 80 and 65, and there's a fucking car on fire. Literally on fire on the interchange. I was like, well, okay then. It was the most surreal thing that could have happened on my way home.
Bizarre.
It was. Crazy. It was so bizarre. And I even had to delve into the Twitter sphere to see if I was insane or not. Nope, real. Happened.
That's crazy.
Just awful, bizarre timing.
Man.
It was... I think it's one of those movies that I'll probably buy and never watch again.
Yeah.
I'll never watch it once I buy it, but I'll probably buy it.
Mm-hmm. Just to... Yeah. No,
You know what I mean?
I totally get what you're saying.
I'll be like, wow, this was a good movie. Bye. And then I'll be like, oh, I don't want to